Hey guys, what's up? Today's episode, I have special guest Nathan Walker on with me. He has his own podcast. He's a fellow brown belt and a fellow competitor. I will link his podcast down below so you can check him out. He's definitely got some interesting takes and is worth a listen, so I suggest you check him out. But in today's episode, him and I covered the CJI versus ADCC drama and some of the matchups we'd like to see and how we think it's going to affect the sport. I'm interested to know what you think of the CJI and ADCC drama. Do you think ADCC is done for? Do you think CJI is a good move, or do you think it's ruining the sport for the fans? Let me know down below how you look at it and what the right move is. And thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the episode.
They try to drown me, I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talkin Jit.
All right, Nathan.
All right.
So, most of the subject matter of today's episode is going to be about the ADCC versus Craig Jones Invitational. We've been texting back and forth. You have your podcast. Have you covered it at all on yours, or have you gotten into like gym drama or anything like that?
I talked about like some like first and second wave effects that like may or may not be unintended consequences that I'm starting to see, blips being posted upon on different other, platforms like Flow Grappling. They'll interview another coach or what they think about it or whatnot. But I did talk about it a little bit in a segment on one of my episodes.
Okay, yeah. So I've been digging for the past week, and a lot of it was on Reddit. And
Okay.
Reddit seems to be about 50-50 on this. And there's like a lot of point of views to look at this. If you're an athlete looking to get paid, I'm noticing a lot of the athletes are they're leaning towards getting paid rather than the ADCC medal. But it's very hard to. The controversy is ADCC is kind of like what everyone aims for. That's like the golden crown in the sport.
Sure.
Do you think going to the Craig Jones Invitational and these athletes like Nicky Rod, do you think that's going to take away the legitimacy of the ADCC medal?
I don't think it is. And the reason why is because all the other competitors that are still in ADCC had to qualify to be there in trials. They're still the best fighters in the world. One thing that I understand that in the CJI that there's a lot of high level caliber fighters. What I really want to see is I want to see the invitations that are going out to who they're sending to. Did he offer Gordon Ryan the same thing? Did he offer Ty Rotolo the same thing and Cade Rotolo? Or is he gatekeeping the invitations to his own competition? So it's great that he's got Fifield Davies and he's got the Tackett brothers and things like that. But like let's see who he's actually inviting, and then let's see who responds. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, like you said, the ADCC is the crown gold standard when it comes to grappling. And I think Craig's got a great competition and a great model there, but it's very conflicting, like you said.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth. Like, so say you're one of the guys taking $10,000 over like competing. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna enter. I'm gonna get 10 grand, and if I win the $1 million, cool. But I was thinking long term for some of those guys, winning ADCC might pay more than 10 grand, or winning their division even. So it's like a long term stake. You might even make more ranking higher in ADCC.
I agree. The prestige of being an ADCC champion, possibly opening a gym one day, having that pedigree under you, it's absolutely an accolade that's worth having. If you want to open up a gym and then train people later, and you can say you're an ADCC champion, you've been there before, like you have that credibility, you know what that training is like, you're not jaded at that point. On the other side of things, let's say Nicky Rod goes in there and he dusts everybody, mops everybody. Okay, fine. Did he fight Victor Hugo? Did he fight Felipe Pena? Did he fight Gordon Ryan? Is he fighting the best people? You won $1 million, but you didn't fight the best pound for pound fighters in 88, 99 or open weight class. Which there's some people in those weight classes that can contend with Nicky Rod all day.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone wants to see the Nicky Rod and Gordon Ryan. I mean, that's like one thing ADCC would have brought is like another possible Nicky Rod versus Gordon Ryan. So it kind of takes away from that viewing pleasure. And I think that like Nicky Rod is one of the few guys that went to CGI or CJI. Sorry, I keep doing that. CJI that could have possibly won ADCC. You know, I think he had like the biggest shots.
I think the rule set played to his favor with his, I don't want to say campy style, but he definitely is an opportunist when it comes to capitalize on the rule set. And it plays well for his game because you don't have to be the most technical fighter to win jiu-jitsu or to win the grappling. You just have to be the most aggressive and win on dominance, essentially. You touched on one thing about everyone wanting to see him possibly fight Gordon. I don't know if this is a thing or not, and I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it. You know, with Mika Galvão having the year that he's having, and each and every year he keeps moving up a weight class, I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps into the absolute division in ADCC, and I would actually love to see Nicky Rod fight Mika Galvão and somewhere in that lineup there, and really pound for pound put his medal to the test against like that individual. Mika's no joke. I think Mika has a skill set to contend with his 220-pound self.
Damn. Well, you just blew my mind because that Galvão is so technical, and
right.
I think Nicky Rod is just like one of them dudes who's big and athletic,
right? And with good wrestling. Don't get me wrong, great wrestling. Yeah.
Not taking away from his technique. Mika Galvão is probably pound for pound one of the most technical guys out there. With the
hands down,
in my opinion.
Hands down. Yeah.
Like, man, that would be a cool match. At first, you'd think Nicky Rod would just destroy him, but then you think about how Mika Galvão treats people, and you're like, that'd be a good matchup.
He's a back snatching fool. He can leg lock with you. He can play guard with you. He'll go toe. He can wrestle all day. You know, I think Mika Galvão. This is a really big year for him to make a big statement. For the guy's only 21 years old. He just won the 4 majors, hit a grand slam in gi. Now he's about to run no gi season and go through ADCC. And then would it be how crazy would it be for him to not only win back-to-back ADCC titles, but also compete in the absolute division and possibly contend or podium? Like that's just, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of factors, a lot of situations that aren't going to happen now. You know, and don't get me wrong, I love what Craig's doing. We can talk about the model and the franchise, or not the franchise, the charity that he set up and all this stuff. But I really feel like Craig Jones is disenfranchising not only the fighters in lieu of getting paid, but also the fans when it comes to the timing of this ADCC and the athletes that are soon going to be retiring and the ones that are coming up. This is a crossroads ADCC that we're looking at, and he's absolutely disrupting that. It's kind of disingenuous, I think.
Oh, really? See, I kind of lean towards Craig Jones's thing. Like, I mean, ADCC is always something I look forward to and I love watching, but I'm on the hype train because Jiu-Jitsu is a low-paying sport, you know.
Sure.
Fighting is a sport. So I think I'm just simply like, let's figure out how to get us paid. And I see Mo's reaction is like, okay, well, I'm going to give people $2,500 to show up to ADCC.
Sure.
And it's kind of showing that his plan is working.
Right.
And Craig, I like Craig Jones' point as to like the venue they pick is super expensive. If he just went to the venue that Craig Jones picked, like he'd have a lot of extra money to do payouts for athletes and stuff like that.
Sure. Let's talk about like the Craig Jones things here. So I don't want you to think that I don't support Craig Jones doing this. I absolutely do. I think it's great that athletes are getting paid. There's millions of dollars. I think he has a total of $3 million on the line. However, because of the amount of money, let's not make sure that we don't mischaracterize things here. First of all, let's talk about Mo. Mo, in his own money as a Saudi billionaire, part of the royal family, could be doing a million other things in the last 20 years instead of expanding the sport at his own dime. Okay? All right, so, and everything that ADCC's done for Jiu-Jitsu in the last 10, 15 years has absolutely exploded the sport. And that's out of Mo's own money. Like, he fronted that money. Now, don't get me wrong, he still should be paying fighters more. I agree with you on that front. But let's not sit there and mischaracterize and say that Craig Jones is now fronting this money. He's not, okay? He has a charity franchise, a charity that's a 503c, and he got a bunch of sponsors and a bunch of companies that need to offload a bunch of money for tax purposes that they can go ahead and write that off, and then he can use that to pay fighters, and he was able to accumulate that fundraising in about tune of about $3 million. So it's great that he found a model and a system to get fighters paid, but I'm still not like buying the fact that Craig Jones is like the kind God King that he is. Okay. I think that now that he has enough money to compete with ADCC, that he literally just wants to troll Mo and the platform. And I think that it's great to compete one tournament against another, but I feel like with the prestige at play here and the timing, that he could have gone about this differently. There could have been an equal solution here. He could have came to the table with Mo and probably had a conversation and see how they both can win on this without detracting from the fighters and the fans. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, there's probably some fighters out there that need $1 million and that feel like they can win, right? But then now that they backed out on Mo after winning an ADCC trial or winning 2 ADCC trials, beating everybody, and now all those people don't get to go, and then you don't go to ADCC, that's kind of like outbidding at an art like auction, and then all of a sudden when it comes time to pay up, you don't pay up. Like, you just outbid everybody. Well, you can't do that. So I really feel like for all the people that could have been in the finals in a trial that are not in the finals of a trial to go to ADCC, they could have had that opportunity had like somebody that was going to drop out of ADCC, not even compete in that trial. So it just throws the whole trials off, honestly. And then the other thing is, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that, to your point, those, if you ever, for the listeners, if you ever watch an ADCC trial, like match, one match is exhausting just to watch. Like,
right.
The dudes fight their hearts out just to qualify for it. So it adds weight to what you're saying. Like, if someone's putting all their shit on the line to qualify and then to do that, steps out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, you just lost, you missed the podium or you missed semifinals or finals by one match, and that person doesn't even, he wins the whole thing and then doesn't even go to the ADCC. It's just like, okay, well, fuck me then. Like, what? You know, like, so, but there was another thing that, if you don't mind, I was talking with, gosh, I forget who I was talking to. It was another brown belt. It was probably like 2 weeks ago. We had thought about the idea, like, what if Craig Jones ran the competition 2 months after the ADCC championship, but only invited those that podiumed from the semifinals and up, and then you run everything again for the same money.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. I feel like that would have been like, okay, was it a fluke that they won the ADCC, or you get to run it back for $1 million in 2 months? Like, let's go. I thought that would have been kind of cool to see.
Yeah, that's a good structure too. And I mean, to be honest, look, I've been kind of watching like who's going to CJI and who's going to ADCC. ADCC seems like it has the most talent.
Of course.
You know, as you were saying earlier, talking about everything that Mo's done and how he's done it out of his own dime, I was thinking, like, what would the difference have been if Craig did wait and throw it on? I mean, it's a solid point. Like, if I get doing it to like, as like, I get doing it the same day, and that's kind of like, I don't know if it's for his marketing. Like, he knows that's going to get more eyes and more people talking about it. You know, controversy sells. 2 weeks later, sending the best of the ADCC Invitational, that'd be cool. But
right,
I want to see more opportunity for other people to get in. I mean, are you a little bit tired of watching the same people compete over and over again? I mean, dogs in the sport, but like, I think having 2 tournaments is great because now we've got more room for more people. You know, more matches.
I agree. I agree. No, that's an absolutely solid point. You know, like, whether or not you made ACC trials or not, or you got an invite to CJI, I think it's great because they're both high level tournaments, of course. But I think, to not be disingenuous to the fans, it'd be great to see who you're sending the invites out to.
Yeah.
You know, so I would love to see that. You know, like, did you send an invite to Anna Rodriguez? Because I know you sent one to Fifi on Davies. Great, she's queen. Run it. Okay, fine, cool deal. But is Anna Rodriguez going to get that same opportunity to run that, or does she not get an invite? You know, the absolute same first person that got the invite first, or that was announced, was Nicky Ryan. I'm like, okay, well, did Dante Leon get the same invite? Okay, because last time I know, Nicky Ryan and Dante Leon had some matches to settle. You know, so
right.
Like I said, I don't mind seeing all the new talent. I just want to know if he's gatekeeping the invitation to the money, because what is the prerequisite to even going to CJI?
Do you think it'd be like kind of smart of him to start like what if he invited Mikey Musumeci?
Yeah.
And then you get your couple like top dog golden boys and they stick with you. And then it's kind of like you start that CJI versus ADCC competition. Who's better? Sell a lot more tickets, you know.
Right. No, there's a lot there. I actually did Mikey Musumeci. Did you watch the fight last week with Mikey?
Yeah.
So he called out, you know, him a lot. His opponent, what was it, Gabriel Sosa, I think?
Yeah.
And then he said, hey, like he told like Baby Shark, do your steroids or whatever. So he fought Gabriel Sosa, ran that back. Okay, the first time he fought, he was the first time he actually went up a weight class. He lost. Okay, he was on COVID. He did have COVID, but whatever. So he ran it back and he won. He wanted to fight Baby Shark. Okay, but he backed out. Whatever, cool deal. Whatever drama's there. But now he's gonna be fighting one of the Rotolo brothers. So now he's actually fighting up 2 weight classes. So he's okay with fighting ADCC fighters that are on steroids, and he's okay fighting up 2 weight classes. I do not understand by any means why Mikey is not even in the ADCC, whether by invite or by trial. And the reason why is because Mikey's got first of all, Mikey's a golden boy. Mikey can't do anything wrong. Okay. Everyone's going to love Mikey, no matter how controversial he is, no matter how much of a kid he is, it doesn't matter. With Mikey, I really do feel like that if he fights somebody that's on steroids and he wins, then of course he's Mikey. He's the wizard that he is. But if he loses, it's fine because that guy was on steroids and Mikey's clean. So there's no way he loses, even if he loses his match. So I don't understand why he's not in there. And the same can be said for Miss Danielle Kelly, because she'd be destroying it over there at 1FC as well. And I really feel like that if Mackenzie Dern can go into ADCC and fight, then why can't Danielle Kelly?
Is she in this one? Is Mackenzie Dern in this?
Mackenzie Dern is in this one, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
oh, wow.
she received an invite. So I don't know. There's a lot of fighters that I would love to see that aren't in either. Yeah,
and so yeah, that's kind of like what my point was. Like widen the pool. Like I feel like we see a lot of the same. You know, everyone going after Felipe Pena, then he runs through then you know he gets his match with everybody, and then it's like all right, back to Gordon, and it's back to Nicky Rod going. It's like I'd like to see like some more talent pools kind of join the mix and then shake it up a little bit. We know we know Victor Hugo and Gordon Ryan and like those are going to be good matches, but I feel like we're kind of just waiting to see if one of them can figure out Gordon or catch Gordon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. We know that everyone's fighting for second.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. So
right.
And that's why a lot of people probably decided to do CJI. They're like, I can go get $10,000, $10,001 to show up, or
right,
$1 million, or I can sit here and do the Gordon Ryan show, and he's going to ruin my instructionals for the next
right. I don't blame the fighters. You know, they're in a very precarious position. The ones that get the invite, you know, they train for 2 years, win an ADCC trial, they go there, they spend an entire camp doing this, and then all of a sudden they got $1 million on the table. It's just like, man, like I don't have to compete to get there. I'm already invited, and if I win, you know, so I don't blame them, you know, for taking the position. But yeah, it's one other person that I really want to see on an invite for either is actually on the next Who's Number One card. I think Jay Rodriguez is going to get absolutely smoked by Tynan Dalpra. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, no, I saw that card. Like, I was looking at that card earlier, and I saw that he was good with that dude.
So, and I don't know if you know this or not, but Ian Dalpra has only had 2 black belt professional matches in Nogi in his whole career. First one was some guy from Lovato's school over there in Tulsa. But then the second match, he fought Oliver Taza. He didn't submit him, but he straight sauced him. He dominated the whole match. He got takedowns. He passed his guard. Oliver had some slick guard recoveries, and it was some really good inversions, and I think 1 or 2 different like Ashi entries, but he was able to like troubleshoot that and get out of that pretty damn quickly. So for Oliver going his whole career, you know, fighting at Nogi in Nogi at like ADCC level events and being very, very dominant, and then to come in and get sauced by a 22-year-old middleweight in the second no-gi match ever, I thought was impressive coming out of Art of Jiu-Jitsu with Tynan Delpra. And I don't know why Tynan for the longest time was fighting Mika back and forth when they were purple belts and brown belts. And I would love Tynan to be in either one of those competitions, because I definitely think he's a sleeper that no one's really counting on, and he's a 185-pound ridiculous pound for pound jiu-jitsu practitioner.
He's only 180 pounds.
185 pounds middleweight. Did you actually see the Worlds match? He just got DQ'd against Francisco Lowe.
No, I didn't see that match. I
Oh,
watched
it was
about it. And
yeah,
Mika.
no, it was really bad DQ. So like, he was in some sort of like I think some De La Riva position, and he was like an outside reap, and he would have been fine if he didn't put his hands together. But the moment he put his hands together, he didn't pull or nothing. Okay, the moment he did that, Francisco Lowe like turned and feigned away and like went ow 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 ow, and he all of a sudden Tynan Delpra got DQ'd, and everybody knows it was fake as all hell, and so everyone wants to see that match run back because Tynan got DQ'd before the semifinals, which was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, Francisco Lowe's now got to fight Jacob Couch, and who's number one, and he backs out. So now he's not fighting Jacob Couch anymore. So yeah, that just changed the other day too.
Damn. Well, I mean, and to your point, this is a good stepping stone, because if he beats J Rod, then he's on the map.
100%, because J Rod's going to ADCC. So
yeah. So, is he going to ADCC, or did he jump on CGI?
He might jump on CGI. I think J Rod, I don't know if he actually, I think he won a trial, didn't he? And then I could be wrong. I'll have to double check. I don't know if he won it or if he placed second at a trial, but he's going to be in one of the two competitions, that's for sure. I don't remember which one. I'm not a really big fan of J Rod or Nicky Rod, honestly.
Neither am I. Like, I respect them, but like, I'm not like the biggest, like, when those guys are on the mat, they don't ever talk about the other opponent. They just talk about those two guys. And
right.
I'm always like, dude, talk about the other opponent. Like, come on. Like, these guys, they're great. I respect them, but I'm not the biggest fans of them. And that's a reason with like the CJI, I was like, please don't tell me it's only the B team, you know?
The first 4 or 5 invites were on his team: Joseph Chen, J Rod, Nicky Ryan. I'm just like, okay, all right. So he's just going to gatekeep half the positions on the competition, so that way all the money stays in house. Like, how is it not a conflict of interest that Nicky Ryan is a proprietary owner in the B team and he's competing in the Craig Jones Invitational?
Yeah,
there's no conflict of interest there. Nothing to see here.
I don't know about you, but the only reason why I really pay attention to Nicky Ryan is to see all that potential they talk about, like, finally.
Right. And I've seen him make a lot of genius moves on the mat, and I've also seen him make a lot of dumb moves on the mat. You know, Nicky Ryan, I think it was a Who's Number One event. I don't remember who it was who was fighting. He won the match, but he got swept hard. Like, it was a gangster ass sweep. I remember posting on one of my social medias. It was probably like 6-7 months ago. It was the last time he was on News Number One. He won the match, but he got dusted on this sweep, and he should have known better for how intelligent and how articulate he is.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, there's moments of time where you see absolute wizardry and straight guru from him, and then there's sometimes where I see like he's kind of inconsistent. He put his hand where he shouldn't. He posted. He had a back injury. The person had a chance at his back, and he was able to escape, but that back exposure should never even happen in the first place because it's a fundamental thing that he did wrong, you know? So, yeah, I think Nicky Ryan, I don't know. I think for him to be more consistent, he's just got to change the perception in which he views jiu-jitsu. The talent's there, but I don't think the thought process meets the talent.
Maybe Craig just used the B team as like a safe space to make sure he fills the card. Maybe he wasn't sure if he could fill the card.
Right, yeah. Who knows? You know,
I've got half the card full with my gyms.
Right, but then here's the other thing. Everyone on in his gym that's on the card loses. What does that say about B team?
Oh fuck. Yeah.
You know, so you know, like, because everyone on the B team, for every one match they win, they lose one. You know,
dude, let me go on ChatGPT and like type in like, what if Nicky Rod loses?
Right.
I'll
tell you the one person from B team that I think is the most genuine when it comes to their training. That's probably the most consistent and is not even a sleeper. He's slowly starting to become a star. Is Joseph Chen. So he's not as boisterous as the other members, but he's got all the raw talent. He's got all the technical knowledge. He understands all the fundamentals, and he has some humility about him. So it'd be good. I can see myself rooting for Joseph Chen.
Had some great matches, and he's proven that he can like adjust like during the match.
In match, yeah.
Like he can go one route, and then he can start seeing like this isn't working and completely adjust game plans, which is huge in jiu-jitsu. A lot of times we get stubborn in competition and we just keep trying to implement our thing, but a little bit different, and it's hard for you to like mid-match be like, oh, I'm going to try this approach now, Yeah. I noticed that. I love it.
I think he's not emotionally invested in rolling. It's not about what he wants to do. It's what he has to do. And if Nicky Ryan or Craig Jones is over there and they're saying, hey, you need to go ahead and go to false reap or something like that, or you need to go ahead and, wrestle up a little bit more. He's going to go ahead and get into that dogfight position and go ahead and wrestle up, or he's going to do it even though it's not part of his game. He's very objective towards what it is he needs to do in that moment so that way he doesn't get scored on or passed or prevent a bad situation from getting worse. And it's really good to see that, how coachable he is and how well he responds to coaching. I don't think he needs a great coach to be good. Why? Because he listens.
Yeah, he's got trust in whoever is yelling at him. That's for sure.
Well, for sure.
Who do you see winning CJI so far? I don't think the full card's announced yet, but so far have you seen like that's a definite W?
Right. Man. Oh, gosh. Well, as far as I know right now, it's either 88 and above and 88 and below. There's 2 divisions, correct? And the rule set hasn't. Before we can even talk about who's going to win, have you figured out what the rule set is yet?
I know they're talking about doing the pit idea, like Taekwondo, like the
karate combat. So they are doing that. They're doing 3 5-minute rounds. And the objectives to achieve points in jiu-jitsu are still the same. So pass guard, takedown, sweep, things like that. Okay, they don't know what the scoring is going to be like because they're going to adjust the objective-based scoring in jiu-jitsu to a 10-point must system from like boxing or MMA. I don't know what criteria they're going to do with that, and I don't know what judges you're going to have so they can articulate that without it being so goddamn arbitrary. Okay, because that sounds like it's going to be the biggest shit show as it is right now. I'm not worried about the money. I'm not worried about the venue. I'm not worried about the fighters. I'm not worried about the media. I'm not worried about the ticket sales. I'm not worried about anything. What I'm worried about is how you are going to objectively score the same across the board because there's such dynamic in fighters. So until that is figured out, I couldn't honestly give you an answer. Just pick one because everyone's so different, Yeah. Are they going to score like, is it going to be like ADCC where there's like a get down rule, like after like 2 minutes or whatever, you can or cannot pull a guard or something like that, or you're penalized for doing so. Some people are more wrestler heavy, some people are more jiu-jitsu heavy, some people are more, I'm going to go out there and just fight you in your face and aggressive, like you said, and some people are, I'm going to pull guard and invert and leg lock the shit out of you. So
best case scenario, they figure it out. Maybe this will help UFC type shit, but like, say someone gets a takedown, but nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, should that guy get points for the takedown, or should the guy get the points for getting up, or should it be a wash?
Right.
Like, you're essentially wasting energy if you're not doing anything with it.
Right. So talking about the UFC for a second, Joe Rogan thinks that we shouldn't reset the fight every round. So let's say, for example, if we're in an MMA match and let's say we're in a ground and pound scenario, and let's say you're in top half guard and I'm just defending and you're doing ground and pound, but I'm defending, but neither one of us are really getting the edge, but you're still striking. We should start in that same position against the cage. The fight should resume where it left off. So going back over to CJI, I think I saw a clip where Craig Jones was talking about, okay, so if someone were to take somebody's back and the round ends, they'll start standing in the center of the ring again, but that'll be a 10-8 round. Well, how do you score that? What if that person spent, 3 minutes in bottom mount, was able to kip escape, go to an ashigarami sequence, the person rolled out of it. While they're rolling out of it, the person that was in bottom mount that entered the ashigarami now wrestles up and takes the back right before the time ends.
Right.
You're going to tell me that person's getting a 10-8 when they spent 3 minutes on bottom mounts sucking wind? Like, how do you arbitrarily convert that to a 10-8 or to a 10-8 to a 10-9 round that is not arbitrary? That doesn't change from fighter to fighter. Like, that needs to be ironed out. And I feel like that's the conversation people aren't having. We can sit there and we can talk controversial all day between ADCC and CJI, but until they actually, I don't think half these fighters know what they're really getting into. Honestly, they're just blinded by the money. Don't get me wrong, that money's blinding. Okay. But, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So ideally, before you accept an invite to a competition, you want to know all the particulars, right? Or are you going to sit there and game plan the week before? Like, there's a lot of money on the line to sit there and dick around with rules a week before the match. Like, you need to know now what it is we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, like, I think that they don't have much time to, like, kind of let fighters figure out what they're going to do, because that's – and then plus you got the whole implementation of, like, the 45-degree wall. So, like, so if you're in bottom mount and you're able to kind of, like, shoulder walk back and now you're starting to sit up. Now you're starting – like, people might not be ready for that or might not understand that. You know?
Right. I can see
it might be a shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see, honestly, the people that are more wrestler heavy and that are more well, I wouldn't say wrestler heavy, that are used to fighting up off their back. If they have an MMA background, or if they like to do like dog fighting or underhook and wizards type stuff, those type of exchanges are going to work, because that wall, that 45-degree angle wall, is going to give you that ability to do that. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of inverty stuff. You're not going to see the same wrestling or jiu-jitsu exchange and grappling exchanges. It's definitely going to change the format in which they choose to fight, for sure.
It'd be pretty gangster is like if every minute the wall came in a little bit more and a little bit.
Oh my God, say less. Bro, that'd be so ridiculous. Can you imagine if you started out with a 40-foot by 40-foot ring, and then every 1 minute it comes in like 3 feet, but the walls on the outside are somehow like electrocuted? Like, let's just go full Mad Max with this. If we're still putting the money up, let's make it fucking interesting. Incentivize them to fight forward and not backwards. Be actually penalized.
Yeah, for real, man. And it's kind of wild. I mean, this is like a little bit outside of what we're talking about, but I just saw today, it just came to mind. I saw today there's a tournament in Florida where it's ADCC rules, but the winner gets 10 grand.
That's so dope.
And that's something I wanted to like as we're talking about ADCs, like a gold standard. Craig Jones is kind of fucking with that. Mm-hmm. I think you and I both agree it probably would be a little bit better to set the CJI, as much as I like the controversy and the drama, like put the CJI event back a little bit so we can enjoy both.
Right.
But it's sparking tournaments like that, like local tournaments where you and I could drive a few hours, go compete, and have a chance at 10 grand and have a good time.
Was that the post you saw from Robbie Donofrio over there in Gracie Brandon, where he's putting on ADCC fights?
No, that might be a different one. Because this one was in a weird. That we might be talking about different ones.
Oh, okay. I know. Robbie Donofrio from Gracie Brandon is trying to host a 32-man absolute division with like $10,000 on the line. He wants all Florida gangs. He wants all Florida guys. He's looking to go outside, but he wants some Florida guys too. And then there's another one that's are you familiar with who Josh LeDuc is?
No.
So Josh LeDuc is the head instructor of North River Jiu-Jitsu and the head coach, competition coach, director, what do you want to call it, for Zapatero Top Team. And he's got a lot of fighters that are competing on like this open circuit for $100,000 prize. And it's like I keep seeing his posting that they'll have fighters, or he'll be promoting with an event where these fighters have to go for these different super fights to qualify to get to a final like 32-man division for $100,000, and he's widely involved in that.
See, and this is what I look like for guys like you and I think this is why I'm a little bit like leaning towards Craig. For guys like you and I who have full-time jobs, we train as much as we possibly can.
Sure.
You're probably in your downtime studying
all the time.
And then we have to come up with $200 to show up to a tournament.
Right.
And so like I kind of like I see it with like that little glimmer of hope that who knows, like maybe this could bring money to the sport, and then people like you and I can finally start making money off of jiu-jitsu and maybe even start climbing that ladder to get to better levels or get students that we can help climb. like higher levels, because right now it's almost like all in or nothing, you know?
Right. If you can't train 40 hours a week minimum with an adequate recovery program, support, rest cycles, and things like that, I think that I don't know how old you are, but I know for a fact that me competing at a very high level is not going to happen. But I know one day I'm probably going to open a gym, and that with all the money that's starting to come into jiu-jitsu now, if there's somebody that wants to go ahead and pursue that, they actually have like a light at the end of the tunnel that's possible for them, you know?
Right.
Whereas when we were white belts, if anybody wanted to make money in any type of combat sport, you had to go fight MMA, okay? You know, so at least they knew that there's a professional organization paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, all right? So now that that's bleeding over into, you know, jiu-jitsu, I can see in 10 years there's some 18-year-old like, you know what, by the time I'm 25, at least I want to say I can grapple throughout the year and make $50, $75, $80,000 a year, you know, and if I win a big tournament, I can win a couple $100,000 or $1 million. You know, there's a path there for the elite to have.
Right. Like, I remember, because I started out with MMA, and that's how I found jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Actually,
Same. Yep.
So then you'll remember this. Like, boxing, it was like you do a shit ton of amateur fights. You show up at the gym. You kind of work your way into like where trainers will actually pay attention to you and give you their time. And then you start getting pro fights, but you start doing pro fights for like 1,000 a show, maybe 1,000 to win. And then you start working up to 5,000 a show, 5,000 a win. And if you start getting a decent record, you're getting 10,000, you know?
Sure.
It kind of helps bridge that gap for like the poor guy who was it Victor Hugo just made a video about how he won ADCC and then he's doing deliveries in between gym sessions to pay for gym sessions almost like
right.
My optimistic side is like hopefully it triggers a way for us, and then if people think they can make a few dollars doing jiu-jitsu, it's going to be easier for you and I to get students that will
100%
be more committed, people that we can train, people that we can build and help. You know what I mean? So that's right. My brand big for the better good CJI, you know, fanboy.
It definitely it's a spark and it ignites that conversation. I just wish it didn't conflict with, you know, ADCC, you know, and I gotta be honest with you, Craig Jones is absolutely not gonna, I don't think he's gonna move the tournament at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if anyone's sitting there thinking that Mo isn't phased having like 9 to 8 fighters drop out, you know, I'm pretty sure more are going to drop out too. I can absolutely see Mo just moving the event, just literally offset it by like a day or so. You know, I could see that happening. I could absolutely see that happening.
I just pulled up your 100K tournament. I found it. It's already.
You saw it? Yeah.
June 29th. It's pretty soon.
Yeah, so that's 2 Saturdays from now. So, and I don't know if that's the actual $100,000 payout or if that's still a qualifier for it or not. I don't remember or not. Does it say?
Qualifier.
Yeah, so like I think there's 2 or 3 more after that, but they've already gone through 2 or 3 other qualifiers. So it's kind of like a mini ADCC, but tons of talent in there. One of the completely off topic from ADCC CJI, but Carlos Sainz, the head instructor and owner of Alpha Miami Grappling, it's where Andre Portofino trains. His son, Michael Sainz, absolute phenom, has been doing really well grappling in these type of events. And I think he's actually going to be, so I'm actually reffing at ADCC Orlando here in about 4 or 5 weeks. And I actually reffed his son last year in Orlando, and having the best view on the mat, it was very hard to not be a spectator while doing it because of how young he was. I think he was like 15 or 16, but he was absolutely phenomenal. Disgusting. So there's, like I said, there's other tournaments out there like this that a lot of other up and young talent can really jump on and really actually make a name for themselves.
That's awesome. So I mean, I love ADCC, but my stance is kind of like still the same. Like Mika Galvão going into it's awesome. I want to see them pull some new names. Like I want to see Mikey Musumeci get in there.
I want to see Mikey for sure.
I think that would be so awesome to watch him like just go against it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said, he'll go against the steroided bullies and is that his whole thing? He just won't go against people because they're on roids?
Well, not anymore. You know, apparently it's out in the open that he's willing to fight you if you're on steroids. So at this point in time, the cat's out of the bag now. I don't see any, unless he has some sort of non-compete agreement with one championship or it conflicts with something. I don't know. I do not see any reason why Mikey shouldn't be doing ADCC. For better or for worse, there's no losing outcome for him. It's just, I don't see it. And in fact, you know, a few months ago at PANS, you know, I reached out to Tom DeBlas. So I reached out to him again right after Mikey's fight, like 2 or 3 days afterwards. And I asked him, I literally said to him, I was like, what animal do I have to sacrifice to what deity to get Mikey into ADCC? Tom's, and I don't know if you noticed or not, Tom, I think, is some sort of production supervisor with ADCC along with Seth Daniels. And because he's at every tournament, he's at every trials. So Tom's very much wrapped up into the organizational structure of ADCC. And he straight up told me, he goes, it's there if he wants it.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if that's him telling me that he's already been formally invited or not, or all Mikey has to do is reach out. I mean, Tom DeBlas is a pretty credible source. So, yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna get Mikey news, Tom DeBlas is probably one of the guys. But
right,
I don't.
Sure.
It seems like Mikey's got like the golden ticket wherever he wants to go. I just imagine he's probably got his own plan. You know, he's got his own game plan, and I don't know if he run with one championship or if he's like. I don't know. Maybe he's going to take MMA sometime. Maybe he's like wants.
Who knows? It could be something going on with him. You know, I know Mikey has been very vocal about, you know, some of the obstacles and struggles he's had in life to overcome. You know, he has said in more than one interview he's been very, very close to quitting jiu-jitsu a few times since he's been a black belt, and his reasons are his own, his personal convictions for him to have, and no one's going to judge him for that. But so I don't know what it is that he struggles with, but that might be a factor. He just may not be saying it. You know, like I said, there's no judgment here, but I really feel like that if we don't ever see Mikey in an ADCC, I don't think it would ever stain his reputation, but I definitely feel like that people will think that was a missed opportunity.
Who wins out of him and Cade?
Great question. So I think the Rutola brothers are very exciting to watch. They're very, very technically sound, and they're absolute athletic phenoms. We should collect their sperm and like breed those individuals. But I think Mikey is a technical wizard. However, if every single time you look at whenever Mikey has jumped up in weight class, the first time that he fought that individual, whoever it may have been, he lost. So the stats are not on his side for that. I don't know if he can jump 2 weight classes to go ahead and get that. So with that, I would say that I think Cade has the edge. But I think that if either one of them make a mistake, the other one is going to be too sound to not capitalize on it, and then it would be too costly. I don't think it's who beats the other one. I think it's who makes less mistakes.
That's true. Yeah. I didn't realize Mikey was jumping up that many 2 weight classes for that.
This is the fittest I've ever seen Mikey. This is the biggest I've ever seen Mikey, period. Okay, because he's always been in that rooster weight or light featherweight division. He's never really been anything higher than that. So now for him to come up to 170 pounds in that weight class, I don't think he's going to put that weight on. But like I said, every time he jumps up in weight class, the first fight he has, he loses. So going up 2 weight classes against
Cade,
a champion in 1FC and an ADCC veteran, come on, man, it's gonna be tough.
And it's crazy because we've seen the Rutello brothers go against big heavyweights,
right?
Unfazed. I mean,
right?
Was that Nicholas Marigali?
Right. Well, I mean, he lost that match, but but the athleticism was there. I think if there's anyone that actually contended with Nicholas Marigali, pound for pound, it was who was it? Was it which one? I forget which one that fought him, but no, that was an absolute exciting match. I don't know if Mikey's technical skill level is good enough to. It's good enough to overcome the weight difference. I don't know if it's good enough to overcome their skill level with the level of athleticism that they possess.
That's how I feel. I think Cade's pretty freaking fast, and now that I know he's 2 weight classes ahead of him, and he's that fast,
right?
Mikey, I don't know. I think I lean towards Cade as well.
I think I lean towards Cade too. Yeah, I really do. I don't think he's gonna be either by submission. I don't see unless one gets on the back of the other, I don't see a submission happening. I don't think either one's gonna leg lock each other. The Rotolo brothers, their legs are like rubber. You know, you're not gonna break their arm. You're not gonna submit their leg either. And Mikey will break it too. But I don't think that he has the ability to make a connection to deal with the athleticism to create enough force to get a tap that way. And the only way I see a submission happening is via choke, whether it's a triangle or from the back in some sort of choking option like the Rotolotine or a triangle choke or something like that. Then I think it's kind of, if either one of them get caught in some variation, whether it's arm or leg triangle or some sort of head and arm choke from the back or even rear naked choke, then I think it's going to be over for them. They both have such good back retention that neither one of them is going to escape the other. That's the only way I see a submission happening. I think it's going to come down to a ref decision on.
Oh shit, that's funny because I kind of see Cade hitting him with the Ezekiel.
You think so? With the Nogi Ezekiel choke?
Yeah, I kind of see that just because he's been hitting it so much. If you follow him, his videos have all been about it.
Sure.
But I mean, Mikey's probably prepared for that too.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever seen him choked.
I don't remember the last time in any. I cannot in this moment recall the last time I've seen Mikey get swept, and I've seen a reversal happen, but I have never seen Mikey's guard get passed at the black belt level.
Yeah.
Gi or no gi, like going back to 2017 till now, I am not, and I've seen a lot of his matches, and I'm a huge Mikey Musumeci fan. Like I like to think that my game, like I'm a very guardy, very inverty, very kind of player. You know, like I like to think that my idols are like Caio Terra, Rafa Mendes, Cobrinha, and he's trained at all of those guys. So now I am in no means their caliber or their skill level or their level of articulation, but like I said, I've never seen his guard passed. So it'd be very interesting to see that if Cade can actually achieve that. You know?
And yeah, there's not gonna be much stand up because Mikey comes out with that foot forward and just sits down.
Foot forward, yeah. He'll let you wrap the single leg, but he's just gonna do a K guard entry. He'll do a cross ashi, he'll invert. You know, so
make it for hooks,
right?
So.
I think that if it came down to leg locks, I think Mikey's more in depth. I just don't think that with the size and athleticism, he's going to be able to actually get anything too deep.
Yeah.
Unless, like I said, unless he makes a drastic mistake, I don't see it happening.
They're so scrappy. They're like, that's just
like
the thing. It's like you starts getting deep. Yeah, they're just so scrappy, and they just jet out of that shit. That'd be a good. I can't wait for that match.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
I can't wait for more Cade MMA matches either. He looks so good with his stand up, a lot better than I expected.
It was. I wish that it wasn't so. Stand up alone was good, and grappling, of course, was supreme. But I felt like the transition between the two need to be better connected.
Yeah.
You know, because when he started to close distance, you know, before he got to the grappling distance, that middle distance before you're outside the pocket, but you're not quite inside the pocket, I felt like right inside there was maybe one or two opportunities where a better fighter could have capitalized on keeping the distance or possibly letting him earn it more, per se, maybe take a strike on the way in or so. But, of course, grappling, I knew for a fact that if he got his hands on, what was that, Blade Miller, I think his name was? I was like, if he gets his hands on him, if he's able to connect his hands in any manner on any part of the limbs of that guy, the match is over. And it took about 2 minutes for him to go ahead and get a hold of him, and then it was over. So, yeah, I thought he looked good in his MMA appearance.
That's an interesting observation. I got to go back and watch it now. I think I was just so infatuated with like how, like watching his hands and seeing if he's going to make any mistakes, and he looks so loose that I was like, what the hell? He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it was great. No, his distance management was great. He was outside when he needed to be. He was able to keep his hands in, not too high, not too low. He had good framing when he was fighting. Good pocket management. But when it comes to penetrating the middle distance, not that distance, but not close, that middle distance game, you know, I thought maybe that his head was down a little bit too much, his hands were too low, a little exposed. But he absolutely well-timed everything to where it didn't matter because he was able to close distance so quickly. But like I said, if that was a better fighter I wonder what that would look like. I wonder if that same fight against this ONE FC champion in MMA in the same weight class, I don't know who it is, but I would love to see what they would have done in a few of those exchanges there, if those reads would have been the same.
Oh, one more idea, dude. Demetrius Johnson for ADCC.
Man, a high entertainment value. You know, he's
Yeah.
the rule set does play in his favor, and don't get me wrong, he slaughtered people in MMA when it comes to grappling. Okay, but there's a difference between being a high level grappler in MMA and being a high level grappler in grappling only. I think if everybody was 35 years old, I think he has a really good chance of winning. But for him to go out there and fight a 20-year-old in his weight class at the elite level, I think he's going to get sauced, just because, you know, and God love him, he's an amazing athlete and one of the most likable guys there is. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Demetrius Johnson outside of Dana White, but because I love the guy, man. He's, like I say, great intuitive grappler, but I do not think that he possesses enough technical skill set against people that are 10 years younger than him, that are, you know, like trying to fight. Hey, he'd be fighting the guys like, he would have to fight like Lachlan Lyles, but even Lachlan Lyles would destroy him.
Oof.
Can you imagine that? They're both 35 years old. You know, Lachlan Lyles is the same weight class, 150. Like, Lachlan Lyles will destroy him. Now, how many people that are 15 years younger than Lachlan Lyles that will beat him in the same weight class? Yeah, so
DJI material.
Right. Great entertainment value. It would definitely sell tickets. But would I put my money on Demetrius Johnson to win? As much as I love the guy, no, I would not.
I mean, it's a good point. He's like, watching him at Pans, he was just so fast. It's just like a little flea. Like, he's not, it's like he was everywhere.
But he's
insane.
he's a professional athlete for almost 20 years now, fighting people that are not professional athletes. He's fighting in Masters 1 or 2, I believe. Okay, and that's guys like me and you that are just trying to fight on the, like, when we get our chances. You know. Yeah. You know, like the day I get pro, if I get pro to black belt and I compete at Pans, I'm fighting against Demetrius Johnson. Like, I am not a professional athlete for the past 15 years.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, especially at, no offense, but especially at that level.
That's what I'm saying.
Top everywhere you go, it's like, but I mean, he was an incredible athlete. He was very fun to watch at Pans.
I loved it. It was amazing.
Shit, maybe CJI just turns into that freaking entertainment jiu-jitsu channel. You know what I mean?
It has. Well, that would absolutely be great for the sport, because a high entertainment value would bring a lot of money into the sport.
Right. So if you suck making controversy and pulling eyes and be a WWE jiu-jitsu specialist.
Well, when I first saw the CJI came out, the one name that came to my mind that got confirmed literally like a week and a half ago was Hanato Kanuto. This guy's doing backflips over people's guards and Polaris competitions and things like that. And then now that he has, I'm like, man, this Hanato Kanuto can go in here. He has a high entertainment value. And then when I found out that he actually got an invite, I'm like, look at this shit right here. I was like, I don't know if I feel like, I know this is complete bullshit, but I feel like I willed that to happen. I was like, I would love to see Hanato Kanuto fight. And then a few days later, I see he got an invite. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing now.
I think he's still got like a couple like big names to drop. Like, he keeps teasing that he's got like a couple like fights set up that like you wouldn't believe. And I can't help but to wonder like what he would set up. Like an Elon versus Mark Zuckerberg
I mean,
type.
Yeah, who knows? You know, I would love to see, if you really want to put some money out there, you know, I want to see, like, well, how much money would it cost to get Rafa Mendes? Rafa Mendes is 34 years old. Okay. Ooh. Who you got to fight to come back in the ring? You know, Cabrina's probably a little bit too old. Cabrina's closer to 40, so I don't see that really happening, you know. But, man, like there's a lot of really good guys out there that, what would it take to get one of the Meow brothers to go into their fight?
That's kind of what I was thinking, like him, or like people still like to watch Lovato Jr. fight.
Right, yeah. Apparently, Wagner's got confirmed again for ADCC. Okay, all right, well, cool deal. Like, how come Andrew or AJ Agazarm hasn't been invited to CJI? Okay,
dude, that would, I don't know. He'd be the bad. He'd be the villain.
That's what
You need that.
It's okay, but I mean that he fits in with the B team. You know,
Does he go? Does he train with them?
I don't know if he's training with them or not. I wouldn't surprise. AJ's been around long enough. He's trained with everybody. But you know, what would it take to have Felipe Pena go there? You know,
That guy's so sad.
he is. You know, I think he's got a lot of mental things to work through, but like, got a great back take game. You know, the guy's got a great guard. You know, I think his mental toughness leaves more to be desired. He'd be quitting on tapping it, like not on submissions. Remember that about a year and a half ago when Gordon Ryan just like made him quit without even like tapping him.
He just did it again with was it Marigali?
Yeah, Marigali didn't even get the submission. He just like, I guess, pressure tapped. I don't know. Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Kind of
Gave up.
He could bring in people like Jake Shields. Maybe some of the MMA guys actually would be pretty cool to watch.
Eddie Cummings.
Say what?
Bring in Eddie Cummings, like a original John Danaher Death Squad guy. You know, there's a lot there's just a lot of really good grapplers out there that aren't really, I'd say, relevant, but are absolutely amazing still, and it would be great to see them.
I'm gonna watch it. I don't know what time difference there is on them, but I'm definitely gonna watch. I might just be sitting here flipping back and forth. I don't know.
I can tell you for sure. So I have a monitor here, I have a monitor here, and I have a monitor here, and I'm going to have on one of my monitors, I'm going to have my podcast, and on the other two, I'm going to have ADCC because I subscribe to Flow, and then I'm going to watch for free on YouTube and CJI. I'm going to have my phone turned off that weekend. Like we're going to be watching. I'm going to watch both.
Oh, you do?
So I'm sorry.
Are you doing a live?
I probably will not be doing a live event. No. Just because it would be too hard to bring up both feeds on one channel and then not have any type of problems with like copyrights and playwrights and things like that. So unfortunately, it won't be live. But plug for myself. Hopefully next year with my podcast, I can actually do live production and actually stop reffing. And when I go to tournaments, whether it be like an ADCC, I can actually go ahead and broadcast the podcast live from the actual event and then select and choose key matchups and whatnot. I remember when I was reffing ADCC last year, Andre Portofino was on the mat. When I saw his name come up, I'm like, wow, I'm about to ref a pro level match. You still there?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm like, man, I see Andre Portofino's name pop up, but I didn't see the other name pop up. And the other name that popped up was Lucas Lira. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
So when I got to ref that match, I was like, this is big. Like, holy shit, like these are big names. And then it really didn't dawn on me until at the ADCC event, all the Flow grappling cameras came to that ring. I'm like, all right, don't fuck this up because you're live on Flow grappling right now. Okay. So I was like, but also at the same point, I was like, man, I could do this. You know, I could broadcast this live with my own production and actually give commentary where that's going to be not interrupted, because sometimes Flow, don't get me wrong, it's great that they have broadcasting on all the major events, but sometimes the broadcasting fucking sucks. So, you know, Agreed. It cuts out, you know, or the streaming, or you don't hear the podcast, or God, I swear to fucking God, the stream will be great. It will never interrupt or anything like that, but the commentary is fucking brutal. I'm just like, man, I was like, come on, like.
I know some of them commentators that are on there sometimes, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
I know that person. They're not the right person.
Right. You know, I'm not saying I would be any better. But, you know, at least I think that I would at least know the fighter, or, you know, so. But that's just my opinion. It out.
Well, hey, my phone is dying.
Sure. So, yeah, we've been going for about a whole hour now, so yeah, it's good talk.
You got any other topics you want to touch up on, or you want to throw your plugs out there?
Yeah, I'll go plug myself. For all the listeners out there, again, my name is Nathan. You know, I train at the Jiu Jitsu Project, Tarpon Springs. You can go ahead and follow me on my personal Instagram channel, or add me at Paradosho Jiu Jitsu. Or you can like, follow, share, subscribe on all social media channels, including Spotify. The Low, Slow, and Heavy podcast is my personal podcast. So it'd be great to have you guys check it out.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate the insight. You had some really good point of views I didn't even think about, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I know we go back and forth. We live in the same, Tri-County area, so we should definitely do this again sometime.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, man. For the guys listening, let me know down below how you're looking at the whole situation with ADCC and CJI. Is it a good move, a bad move, or where do you see it doing to the community? What do you see it doing to the community? All right, Nathan.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
a lot. Appreciate it, man.
Likewise, I really appreciate having me on, man. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Yep. Peace out, bro.
Peace. Oh, shoot.